Welcome Mr. Najm V. Bilgrami, who is the National Head, Financial Lines, Tata AIG General Insurance. A warm welcome to you, sir. Today's topic is evolving landscape of online banking. What's next for the security? To open up this conversation, so I would like to hear about your, opening remark about this topic and a little bit to introduce yourself, to talk about your company as well and what are the works which has been done in a summarizing way.
Thank you, and thanks for inviting me. And in fact, thanks for bringing this important topic because let me start with the introduction. So I take care of financial line underwriting. Now, when I say financial line underwriting, I'm talking about all the new age risk. We're talking about cyber as a risk and the cyber insurance. We are talking about all the financial fraud and related products like crime insurance. I'm talking about directors and officers liability policy, professional indemnity policy, wherein an organization is professionally legally liable for the error and omission which they may have committed for their customers. So I handle those kind of products like underwriting as well as the business development. We in Tata AIG is one of the leading general insurance company. We're leaders when it comes to these new age product. And especially in my line of business, we believe in bringing new solutions. In fact, we were the first one to introduce cyber insurance in the Indian market. And I would like to, and many of you as banks or financial institutions do have cyber insurance covers with us. The very important point which I would like to bring here, when you look at all these new technology, because we have moved a long way forward, starting from those days when we used to have long queues, getting your money from banks, from like ATM and from there to online banking. When we look at technology, starting from AI to other IoT solutions, you have blockchain. Now, when you look at specifically, I can tell you, like in insurance, the kind of assistance which we have got from all these new technology, like fraud is one of the major concern for insurers. When you look at specifically the claims, with the blockchain, I can tell you, like, and there are like so many reports available wherein Indian insurers, of course, like it's new for us, but when you look at Europe, US, the insurers are able to save and improve their services in many ways with all these technologies. So definitely, like we all, without any doubt, we all understand the importance because it's must to have today. And there are like so many examples wherein whether it's an insurer or whether it's a bank, if they are not adopting technology, they're losing market share significantly. And in fact, there are so many examples available wherein large bank or large insurers, large financial institutions have been like vanished just because they were like not keen or not focused on implementing technology. All these insurtech, fintech are eating their share. So there's no doubt about it. But at the same time, the other side of the coin, which is the security or the concerns which are coming along with these technology, I think somewhere as an industry, we are missing out, and there are more focus which is required. Now, let me tell you, like when we are talking about cyber as an exposure, and as an organization, whether we are talking about banking or financial industry, or we are talking about a manufacturing sector, or any other sector for that matter, cyber has become the biggest exposure. When you look at various reports, like when you look at very recently the barometer report which has been released by AGCS, or the latest report by PwC in January 2024, cyber has become the biggest exposure for any organization. And the most important thing, I think, the organization has to think that till now we are treating this as a cost center. That yes, there is a cost involving those firewall, multi-factor authentication, red teaming, and all those exercise which provide protection to the organization and subsequently their customers. But we have to move from there, and we have to look at the way globally industries are adopting this technology, but along with the security, what you call, steps which they are taking. And then subsequently it has become, as I said, it is just not the cost center, it has become the business enabler for the organization. And considering that, we should look at changing our approach when it comes to these kind of exposures which are around us.
Absolutely. So, to begin with, I would like to ask you this question, that with new technologies like blockchain, AI, and IoT changing the landscape of online banking, which specific advancements do you think will have the most significant impact on security?
See, as I said, like when you look at all these technologies, when we are talking about online banking or ATMs, definitely it is like it is business enabler for us. But at the same time, you look at the new exposures. Traditionally, what we used to see, and I can tell you like my own experience when I handle all these policies, we used to handle and what we used to see, the exposures of forgery, counterfeiting, these kind of exposures which we used to look at. But now when you look at, like, you have data breaches leading to bank account details, credit card details getting compromised. You have cyber incidents leading to banks unable, very recently, like largest Singapore bank, they were unable to function, the ATMs were not working, people were not able to access their online banking accounts. Now imagine the kind of legal liability which the bank may be having, because like a lot of such transactions which the customers were intending to do and unable to function because of all these incidents. And this can bring a large legal liability on the bank. So it's just not those moments wherein you have unhappy customer. You also have those legal liability coming from regulator, coming from those large institutions, large corporate clients which you have, and including the individual customers. So, as I said, like when you look at this, definitely it is a business enabler, but at the same time, it comes with a cost, and we will have to be very focused addressing those issues as well.
Yeah. Yes. So to add on to that, like how can banks leverage these technologies to improve safety without compromising the user experience?
So let me give you one example, and especially like when you look at blockchain, all the financial institution, one of the major concern what we face is frauds. And very nicely, when you look at many US banks have adopted this technology, wherein while adopting the blockchain, they are able to identify those anomalies, those false transactions or misrepresentation kind of issues, and subsequently they're able to reduce the fraudulent claims or the fraudulent transactions at a significant level. And at the same time, what's happening, because you have technology addressing all this, you are like able to reduce the cost which you probably used to incur while hiring those agencies to investigate those matters. So it is just not helping you to do more business, but it's also helping you in addressing the issues, and you have at the end you have a happy customer because he has the seamless service.
Correct. So, how are the current upcoming regulations shaping the security landscape for online banking? If you would like to, add to this.
Yeah, it's one of the major concern. In fact, now we have DPDP Act, the Privacy Act for India, and all financial institutions were holding a lot of PII, personal identifiable data. We are subject to many regulations. We are subject to consent of the customer. We are subject to the data usage which we are making. So one side, as I said, we are talking about all these data breaches or data compromise, cyber attacks leading to ransomware exposure, wherein there are ransom demanded by various institutions. On the other side, when you look at these privacy laws, definitely again, there are two ways. Always there is two ways. One, it will lead to more awareness about this exposure. So when we are talking about all these new technology, definitely like as an institution, as an industry, when we are talking about this exposure, one is definitely we are implementing all this technology so that we have happy customers, seamless services, more transaction, more business. But at the same time, the other thing is like we will have to train our customers so that they can use these technology, these services in much better way, and they can actually get benefited out of it. So training is one of the most important thing. Of course, like we being institution wherein like it's difficult to reach out to those individual customers, I think privacy law will help uh, wherein to create more awareness about this exposure. And at the same time, like all those organizations who are like well compliant, they will have more business. And I think it will be it's a very positive step, I believe, because when I look at all the other countries, like when you look at the impact of GDPR in European countries, there are significant positive impact on the organization. Definitely, we are like, we being data heavy, all of us, like when you look at whether it's bank, whether it's insurance company, we hold a lot of personal data, like all the PAN card detail, Aadhaar card details. We being insurance company, we have health details of our customers. So all this are making us significant data fiduciary as per the regulation. And we have more responsibility in terms of handling the data. I just want to tell you one more important thing. When you look at 10 large organizations of the world, you will look at 7 of them are data company. So definitely data and this technology is helping us to become those big. These are not those Tata Birlas who are like number 1 to 10. These are all Meta, Apple, IBM. Those kind of companies are like listing there. So definitely like data is the new oil. But at the same time, I think, and I am again constantly coming back to risk, because I am from risk management and underwriting, all these new age risk. And that's why like I'm coming back to that yes, definitely we will have to focus on data. We'll have to definitely focus on all these new technology, Internet of Things, which is like leading and like it is a multi-fold growth. All these technologies are bringing multifold growths for us. But at the same time, it comes with a cost, and we will have to address that as well. I think that's my take on this.
Yes, so are the regulations which are evolving quickly enough to keep pace with the technological changes, like what are the additional measures would you like to see from a regulatory perspective to enhance security?
Yep. So I will continue from where I stopped. Like we do have DPDP Act now. It will get enacted. In fact, if you look at the way government is planning it, they have given enough time for us to change our consent. Like look at an insurance company. Let me just give you an example from us. Like somebody reached out to us, bought a health insurance plan. Now, without taking consent, we approach them for all other products. That we do sell motor insurance, we do sell liability insurance, we do have individual cyber policies. So where is the consent from the customer to reach out to them for all other product? All these will become important, and there are provisions for it. So you will have to take consent when you're like onboarding that customer for health insurance. Similarly, like when you look at banks, a customer is reaching out to you for a saving bank account. You're not supposed to reach out to them without their consent for all other services which you want to offer it to them. There are classical requirement to take consent, how long you can use their data, where you can use their data. So all these things will lead to ultimately a very risk-aware environment, whether it's a bank end, whether it's an insurance company's end, or whether it's a customer's end. And subsequently, it will help us to like have a better, as I said, risk environment. As far as the speed is concerned, I think the government has given enough time for us to comply with all these regulations. So once the law is enacted, we should be having a data protection officer at our end. We should be having those audit mechanism, which has been suggested by the DPDP Act. We should be having all those consent provision in our forms, wherein we are taking consent from customers, either yes or no, in terms of like approaching them for other services. So I think all these things, we have this time when the law is introduced and when it will get enacted, this is the time wherein we should like change our processes, change our like technology, change our systems so that we are like up to that level.
I agree to that. So, to add on to this, often the weakest link in the security is human error. So, what strategies can bank use to educate the customers and employees about cybersecurity risks, and how can they promote the culture of security awareness?
So I can tell you, this is a very interesting area, and I can tell you, like, I handle cyber claims, and 40% of the cyber claims, what we see, it is the employee error. Either he has visited those sites which he's not supposed to visit, downloaded something which he's not supposed to download, and that leads to these ransomware or like cyber extortion or like various other cyber attacks. So imagine like what we are saying is like if you address this exposure and see, look at this cyberspace. What we see when we look at the cyberspace, we look at technology, we look at process, and we look at the human factors. That means I'm talking about just not your employees or customer, but even vendors. We miss out, most of the time we miss out our vendors. Imagine all the data, all the services, like your credit cards gets printed at a third party place. It's not bank who's printing it. How much concerned we are whether they are having the equal level of security which the bank is having. Take an example of an insurance company. We write the health insurance policy. What we do, we collect the data, we give it to the TPA to service the policy. Now, are we sure my vendor, my TPA is having the equal level of cyber security? Because ultimately, if there is a data breach at his end, we as an data owner will be responsible for it. We will have to answer to regulator. We will have to answer to the customer. That they will be like questioned later. So we are ultimately responsible, and that's why like we have to take steps not only to educate our own employees, customers, but even the vendors. In fact, all the contracts which you sign, and these are the things which we look at in like regular basis when we are like looking at these claims, that when you're signing the contract, you should be having provision, and your vendor should be taking liability if there is any error, omission, or breach at their end. So those contract has to improve so that your liability is reduced. So all these things become very important. And as far as training is concerned, as I said, like technology, when you like wants to enhance your technology, you want to like involve firewalls or like those multi-factor authentication and various other like technology. It's a very ever evolving field. So you have every day coming new cyber threats and new cyber technology to prevent those threats. So it's a cost. But when it comes to process, develop a process, you have what you call processes wherein like if suppose your one system is not working, you should have alternate systems. So I'm talking about the business continuity plan. Again, that incur cost. But when it comes to training your employee, and especially your employee, because they are the weakest link, I think it's the like you don't have to spend too much. But what we see, and especially like let me tell you, like when we are talking about all these negatives, let me tell you a positive about our industry. Especially IT and financial institution, they are much mature as compared to all other organizations. In fact, a very surprising fact I can share with you: during pandemic, it was not the banks, because we are obvious targets, because we have a lot of data, and then with these data you can have immediate conversion of fraudulent funds and all those things. So we are the obvious target for hackers. But when you look at all these manufacturing or pharma and all, they are not the obvious target. But during pandemic, look at all the reports, they were the one who got hacked, or they were the one who got like major, like massive attack on these industries. Why? Because they never thought that security should be a concern for them. They always thought safety is their issue. But when you look at this, it's a very unique trend. And as I said, like we as banking and financial institution, insurance, we are much mature when it comes to other. But yes, that's not enough, because as I said, it's an ever evolving risk, and we will have to like keep on like multi-factor authentication. Like when you open your laptop, you get a password on your mobile so that you can access your. These are the basics now. These are not those high-end technology which like we think that we should have. It is must to have technology, because we are like in such segments. So.
Absolutely. And so what are the future trends which are likely to influence the security landscape of online banking?
See, when I look at not only banking as a financial institution, there are three major trends which we have to look at, and we will have to address that. The first one, of course, these cyber attacks, when you look at, these are becoming sophisticated day by day. Look at ransomware as a service. So there is a group called ransomware as a service. They just not like attack organizations. They provide all these tools free of cost to people who are like interested in doing that. They have 24/7 call centers to assist them how to hack. And on top of that, when you have a customer who has like now into their radar, they help them to like take money from them by mean of extortion, by mean of like business interruption and various other means. So they are becoming sophisticated. And when you read about it, like I have experienced claims when we used to have claims in 2018, 19, 20, we used to see a cyber incident, but very rarely we used to pay extortion. Very rarely. But now they have become so sophisticated that they force you. So there are like things called double extortion, triple extortion in the cyberspace, wherein they are like so capable, and they're planning it in a way wherein you're forced, you have no option but to pay the extortion money. And now it has become rampant when you look at this cyber extortion. So that is one. So they're becoming sophisticated. So we will have to like keep on the pace, and we will have to be like addressing all the exposures what we identify as an organizations. And like there are organizations who are sharing experience. So if suppose one entity or one company gets a cyber incident, they share. There are regulatory bodies which are helping the industry that to identify and then mitigate that exposure. So I think that's one. The second is privacy laws. I think that's one major area which I feel, and especially our industry, like we will have to address this because when you look at the fines and penalties, I can tell you like Meta has got fined last year by a Israeli regulator, 1.6 billion US dollar. And even when you look at the provisions what we have in the DPDP Acts, they're talking about 250 crore fine. So it's just not the fine, even other provisions are very significant, and we do have a lot of liability, a lot of responsibility in handling the data. So I think that's one area I feel like we should be addressing it as soon as possible. Third, when you look at these cyber attacks, it's just not those criminals who are using this as a tool. Now, when you look at all these wars, it is the nation-backed threat actors who are using this. So it is country who's actually sponsoring all this. So it's not to make money, but look at an enemy country attacking other enemy country, and especially we, as I said, like look at, we are financial industry. So if suppose there are 5 large financial institution of a country gets hacked and they are unable to function for a week, imagine the state of economy which the country will have. So that's another very important factor, because it's just not limited to those, as I said, like criminals or let's say terrorist organization who are using this as a tool to make money. It is beyond that, wherein like it could be a nation state actors acting against these large organizations. So I think these are the 3 major trends which we should be like careful about, and we should be constantly working on this risk.
So, to add on to this, are the emerging technologies like the augmented reality and decentralized finance creating new security challenges? If you could slightly talk us through this.
See, as I said, like when you look at everything in the world, like there is a positive side of it, there is a negative side of it. So when you look at all these technology, whether it's a blockchain, whether it's IoT, whether it's AI, like AI, look at AI, the way it is helping the insurers, bankers in doing their business. Your call centers are handled by AI, like most of like now banks, insurers, like they are using all this as an AI. And let me like give you a very recent cyber incident with one of the IT companies. Now, all of us, we are using left, right, and center all these IT platforms, and especially this incident was a service as a software as a service platform which got compromised, wherein almost around 18 to 19 life insurance companies were using that platform. Now, it got compromised, leading to a data breach. Now there is a situation of a class action. So now, when you're looking at this class action here, the board members of that particular insurance companies are at like they have been questioned by their shareholders. They have been questioned by their those customers. Their data has got compromised. That you're supposed to handle all this. You're responsible for the security of the bank or the insurance company, and you fail to do that. Now there is a security class action against them. So, as I said, it's just not limiting only to a cyber attack wherein data gets compromised. Even the officials of the banks, officials of the insurers or the financial institutions or any other organization for that matter, just not limited to financial institution, they are getting questioned that you failed in your duty. So it's a charge of mismanagement on them. So, like it has become a very like significant exposure and needs proper board attention. It's just not limited to a CFO who like a chief information security officer who's reporting to CFO. That's this. Let me tell you, this is the structure in most of the Indian companies, wherein CISO is reporting to finance, and every time when he suggests that okay, this is the firewall or these are the multi-factor authentication or red teaming needs to be done. Finance has to approve considering it's a cost to the company. But it is just not a cost to the company, it is a board agenda. And we have to treat it like that.
So how can the financial institutions, prepare for these potential shift in the security paradigm?
So I can only tell you like there is a statement by a person called Robert Miller. He's a FBI ex-FBI director. He says there are only two types of organizations across the world. He says one who has got hacked, other who's going to get hacked. Okay, and there are like classic examples when you look at even organizations like Pentagon or NASA. They have a history of cyber compromises. So all of us, we may invest what you call immense. There are like a lot of areas. As I said, it's a topic which needs to be discussed in length for full day. But the thing which I would like to highlight and share with you is like, yes, it is an area of concern and you have to invest. And you have to be, like, as I said, aware of it. The most important thing which I feel you will have to address this in a way wherein you're addressing all the three components of it as an organization. Like you have to definitely look at all the technology which is enabling you to do business without compromising the customer's data, without compromising your own business processes. So definitely like all the new age technology you will have to invest on. The second thing is like processes, wherein like we have very clearly seen during pandemic, like all the organizations were ill prepared or having only documented business continuity plan. They suffered. And there are data when you read like 17%, globally only 17% organizations were having tested business continuity plan. Okay. All were otherwise documented. So you will have to, like now we have reached to that level wherein like all these are reality and then we have to work on it. So process again is something which we organizations have to look at. The third thing is, of course, and the most important thing which we already discussed is the training to the employees, customers, and the vendors. So that has to be addressed by the bank so that, because as I said, you can't be saying that I am 100% secure. And last but not the least, the role of insurance. You do everything right, but still there is a probability of you getting compromised, you getting hacked. And there the role of insurance comes, wherein like you transfer your risk, because there is a risk even if you like doing 100% right. There is a risk, and from there to address that risk or to address the business loss, you have insurance policies like, as I said, like cyber insurance policy or crime insurance policy back for banks. Like you have bankers indemnity policy, which address all these losses so that you can transfer those losses to the insurer.
So to conclude your remarks about this today's topic, like evolving landscape of online banking and what is next for the security, what would you like to say to our audience about your concluding remarks and your takeaway from this, discussion and the future ahead, your point of view on it.
I think it's the most important thing is awareness and acknowledging this exposure. I think most of us and I can give you like even individual experience. I'm not sure like I should be talking about this. Like most of us in my age group, we downloaded song from song.pk without even thinking what we are doing. And every song which comes from that site comes with a virus called Trojan. So all the laptops, all the mobiles which we have used, it's already compromised. So I think the awareness and acknowledging that, yes, it is an exposure, I think that's the most important thing that's the first step. So that's my concluding remarks.
Absolutely, I agree to that. That awareness and discussions like this, summits like this, are very, very important. Of right now at today's time, that security of controlling your datas and keeping it properly private, it's very, very important. Thank you so much, Mr. Bilgrami, for taking your important time out and coming for this summit and for this fireside chat. And I would like to, if there is any questions anybody would like to ask, please.
Hi, now I am Amya. I work at a law firm. My question was regarding reporting of cyber incidents, both at an employee level to the management as well as at level of the company to report it to the government. Many cyber incidents go unreported simply because the company maybe would fear backlash or the potential liability, both from the regulator or from the clients facing lawsuits. My question was, what steps can companies take to promote reporting of such cyber incidents?
So there are guidelines. So if you look at the certain guideline, it talks about reporting of any cyber incident within 6 hours to certain. When you look at even DPDP Act, there are provisions wherein you have to notify to the regulator, and not only to the regulator, even the affected party. Of course, like when you look at GDPR, it specifically talk about within 72 hours. When you look at the privacy law of India, like it is talking about as soon as possible. So probably I can look at both ways. It is positive, it is negative, because there it is a 72-hour guideline when it comes to GDPR. So you know that, okay, within 72 hours you will have to address this. But here if they're talking about as soon as possible, so practically you have to inform every customer, all the stakeholders, your SEBI, even SEBI has their own guidelines with respect to reporting of cyber incidents. They have to make disclosures. Listed companies have to make disclosures in their financials about it. And as I said, like, the stringent timeline is the 6 hour by cert in. I would like to also tell you about it that don't look at these as, of course, like for an organization, if the news is in public domain, it may impact their goodwill. But at the same time, you will have to see that those agencies will be able to help you mitigating or addressing this exposure. So I think not informing them leading to like non-compliance, and also leading to probably like they do have experience of handling such incidents, and they will be able to advise you right things. So I think that's the way you should look at it.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions?
Any more questions?
I think we can conclude.
Yeah, I just wanted to have one understanding that you spoke about 40%, employees mostly have personal experience that are usually, unknowingly, of course, involved, while you click, you download. And that's something which happens at a third party office sometimes at the client office. You can't, what is the one factor, or what do you think, how can we stop it? That is not the word that is possible. It can't be totally stopped. But what do you think, what can, the employee awareness, or what are the things that can be made sure that this doesn't happen? The 40% is seeing the declining graph rather than the increasing one. What do you think?
So a lot of trainings are required. That's the most important thing. There are like a lot of trainings, like business email compromise, the phishing attacks.
Correct.
When you look at, you will have to train your employee to identify those phishing attacks. I can tell you, like many crime claims, what we see that the mail is coming from, let's say, najm.b@tataaig.com is the right ID.
Correct.
Now the mail is coming from najm.b instead of Tata AIG, one A is missing. And you feel that it's authentic email, and then you click on it and download attachments or respond to those mails with like correct details, and then those guys misuse that detail. Training the employee is the most important thing. As I said, like you're addressing actually 40% of the exposure if you're training your employees. Because as I said, very few cases, like not even 5% cases, wherein we see that there is a malified intention of the employee. Most of the time, they're not even aware that what they're doing. So the training, I think, is, and you have keep on, so there are a lot of tools. Now, if you ask me like training, there are modules. In fact, what we do with our customers, like we have a tie-up with a US agency, which provides a lot of training modules on business email compromise, on what you call phishing email compromises. Then you have like modules wherein like you are suggesting which are those sites, which are those areas wherein you should not be like visiting and all. So those are the trainings which you have to
Keep on,
impart. There are phishing simulations. So what these companies do, they send the mail which is actually coming from, let's say, the HR or the admin department. But
Okay.
it's saying that, okay, you have got your salary increase, you download, fill the form, and now anybody like will get like interested
of
in
course.
filling that form and responding. Now,
Salary
when you're
ki
filling
baat
the
hai.
details,
Correct.
you're actually sharing all the company's details or your
Right.
personal details with those bad actors. So companies actually doing phishing simulations on their employee to make them aware. And as soon as you receive, then you have to go through the long training and to identify like how you should identify those mails. So I think those are the things which organizations have to, especially like financial
do
institutions,
it.
definitely have to like keep on doing it so that you have better, like well-aware employees.
Okay, but also there have been multiple cases, past years that insurance company have been involved, and they have not been involved in the sense the data was breached. More than 40,000 data was breached, and that didn't happen in their office. It happened on the third party offices. So for such incidences, how should an insurance company react, and what is going to be the to-go policy like to them?
Ultimately, if the data is getting breached at your outsourcer's end, you
Correct.
will be liable.
Yes.
Ultimately, you will have to answer to the regulator, you will have to answer to the stakeholders. Two things which you can do. One, of course, if you have the cash flow to manage their training, you should be training your outsourcers. That
Yes.
many organizations do. The second thing, if you don't have the bandwidth or the financial strength to
Correct.
train their employee, make your contracts watertight, wherein if there is a miss or error and omission at their end, ultimately the liability is transferred to them. You will be responsible, you will be answering to the regulator. Definitely all those things will come to you. But then you have a back-to-back contract wherein you're making them responsible. By doing this, the two things will happen. You're secure. Secondly, they will improve automatically.
Correct.
When they
They'll
have
be
the liability on
liable.
them.
Yes. Okay. Fabulous. Amazing. Can we have a huge round of applause? This was absolutely productive, and I must say. And what an amazing chat. Thank you so much for joining.